Have you ever wondered why some people seem to attract wealth while others struggle endlessly? Could it be luck, opportunity, or is there something deeper guiding their lives? What if the key isn't found in money itself, but in the philosophy we live by every single day? If you're curious to uncover Jim Rohn's timeless wisdom on building wealth through personal philosophy, then you're in the right place. But before we dive in, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss insights that can completely transform your future. 1. Your philosophy shapes your life. Every person builds their life on an invisible foundation called philosophy. It's the set of ideas and beliefs that guide our decisions, shape our habits, and ultimately decide the results we get. Jim Rohn believed that wealth, happiness, and success don't just come from talent or luck, but from a strong, well-built philosophy. Think about it. If your thoughts are disorganized, your actions will be inconsistent. But if your philosophy is rooted in growth, discipline, and responsibility, then everything else in your life aligns toward prosperity. Philosophy is like the blueprint of a house. A builder cannot construct a strong building without a clear plan, just as an individual cannot create a successful life without a guiding philosophy. Every choice, what you read, who you associate with, how you treat setbacks, flows from this invisible foundation. If the foundation is weak, cracks will eventually show up in your finances, relationships, and emotional stability. If the foundation is strong, you can weather storms and even expand your life beyond what you thought possible. Jim Rohn often emphasized that philosophy is not something we consciously choose once. It's something that evolves through what we consume. The books we read, the mentors we listen to, and the conversations we entertain all contribute to shaping this inner framework. If we aren't deliberate, we end up adopting a philosophy by accident, perhaps one of mediocrity, blame, or excuses, simply because we absorbed it from our environment. The danger is that such a philosophy silently directs our choices without us even realizing it. For example, consider two people presented with the same challenge, such as losing a job. One might interpret it through a philosophy of scarcity and despair. I'll never recover. Life is unfair. The other might interpret it through a philosophy of opportunity and growth. This is a chance to reinvent myself. What can I learn? How can I build something better? The external event is the same, but the outcome differs entirely because of the inner philosophy guiding the response. Your philosophy determines your daily disciplines. A person who believes in growth wakes up earlier, invests in learning, and manages money wisely because they see those actions as seeds for future abundance. A person whose philosophy is rooted in pessimism or entitlement may procrastinate, spend recklessly, or blame others for lack of results. Over time, those daily decisions compound, just like interest in a bank account, producing radically different lives. Rohn insisted that wealth and success are not accidents. They are the natural result of aligning one's philosophy with principles like responsibility, discipline, and intentional growth. If you want to know where someone will end up in 5 or 10 years, don't look at their bank account today. Look at their philosophy. That is the seed, and the harvest always matches the seed. This is why it's crucial to pause and ask, what is my guiding philosophy? Do I believe life happens to me or for me? Do I view problems as roadblocks or as puzzles that sharpen my skills? Do I treat learning as a lifelong necessity or as something that ends after school? Your answers reveal the quality of your foundation. The beautiful thing is that philosophy can be changed. Unlike talent, which may be inherited, or luck, which cannot be controlled, philosophy is a matter of choice. By deciding to build a philosophy of growth, responsibility, and service, you change not just your future, but also the legacy you leave behind. It is the most powerful, invisible force shaping your destiny. And as Jim Rohn said, success is nothing more than a few simple disciplines practiced every day. Those disciplines arise directly from the philosophy you choose to live by.
2. Rewriting limiting beliefs. One of the biggest barriers to wealth isn't external, it's internal. Many people carry limiting beliefs like, money is evil, or I'll never be rich because I wasn't born into it. Jim Rohn challenged us to break free from these mental chains. If your current thinking isn't bringing you the results you want, then it's time to rewrite your philosophy. Instead of saying, I can't afford it, ask, how can I afford it? By reshaping your questions and your mindset, you open doors to opportunities that were invisible before. Wealth begins where limiting beliefs end. Our beliefs act like filters. Imagine looking at the world through a pair of glasses with dark, scratched lenses. No matter how bright the day is, everything looks dim. That's exactly what limiting beliefs do. They distort our perception of reality, causing us to miss opportunities that are right in front of us. A person who believes money is evil will subconsciously push away financial opportunities, even when they're perfectly ethical, because they don't want to betray their moral identity. Another who believes, I'm not smart enough, might never apply for a promotion or start a business, not because they lack the ability, but because their belief tells them it's impossible. Jim Rohn taught that changing beliefs begins with changing language. When you say, I can't afford it, your brain shuts down. There is no search for solutions, no creativity, no drive. But if you ask, how can I afford it? Suddenly, your brain starts working. You begin to think of side jobs, investments, or smarter spending habits. This tiny shift in language cracks open the door to possibility. Many people inherit their limiting beliefs without question. They grow up hearing phrases like, money doesn't grow on trees, rich people are greedy, or that's just not for people like us. Over time, these sayings form mental barriers that dictate behavior. Rohn would say that if you don't examine and challenge these ideas, you'll live your whole life under their control. But the moment you realize beliefs are choices, not truths, you gain the power to rewrite them. Take the example of entrepreneurs who start with nothing yet rise to enormous success. The difference isn't luck, it's belief. They believe wealth is available, that value can be created, and that obstacles are simply problems to solve. Their belief system keeps them searching, trying, and innovating until results appear. On the other hand, those with limiting beliefs stop trying too early, interpreting failure as final proof that their doubts were correct. To rewrite limiting beliefs, you must first catch them. Pay attention to your inner dialogue. When faced with a challenge, what's your default thought? Do you think, I can't? Do you think, this is impossible? Each time you identify a limiting belief, you can counter it with a new empowering belief. For example, replace I'll never be rich with wealth is a skill I can learn. Replace I'm unlucky with I create my own opportunities through discipline. The more you affirm these new philosophies, the more they take root in your subconscious, slowly replacing the old scripts. Rohn encouraged surrounding yourself with people who challenge your limits. If your circle reinforces negativity, it will be nearly impossible to rise. But if your circle asks better questions, challenges excuses, and models success, you'll find it easier to adopt empowering beliefs. As he often reminded us, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Rewriting limiting beliefs is not a one-time event, it's a lifelong process. Every new level of success will expose hidden doubts you didn't know you had. But each time you overcome one, your capacity for growth multiplies. Wealth, happiness, and freedom are not about avoiding problems, but about having the right mindset to solve them. And that mindset begins with the courage to rewrite the invisible script running your life.
3. Philosophies of money and work. Jim Rohn often said, "Don't wish it were easier, wish you were better." That's the philosophy of wealth. Money responds to value, and value comes from developing yourself and your skills. The philosophy of work isn't about working harder for the sake of exhaustion. It's about working smarter, constantly learning, and becoming a person people want to reward. If your work ethic is built on growth, service, and excellence, then money will naturally follow. Wealth isn't chased, it's attracted by the person you become. Most people misunderstand money. They see it only as paper or numbers in a bank account, but Rohn described money as a measure of value. If you want more money, you must create more value. This doesn't necessarily mean longer hours or harder labor. Two people can work the same 40 hours, but one earns 5 times more because their skills, knowledge, and contribution create greater value in the marketplace. The difference lies not in effort, but in philosophy. This is why Rohn advised against wishing for fewer problems or lighter burdens. He argued that challenges are what force us to grow, and growth is what increases our value. A worker who solves small problems earns small pay. A leader who solves big problems earns big rewards. The key is not to resent the problems, but to embrace them as opportunities to sharpen your abilities. That's the essence of the philosophy of work. Consider the employee who shows up only to collect a paycheck. Their philosophy is transactional. Give the minimum effort required to earn money. Compare that to the employee who shows up with the mindset of learning, improving, and serving. They ask, how can I make myself indispensable here? How can I contribute more than I'm paid for? The second philosophy eventually attracts promotions, opportunities, and financial abundance, while the first remains stagnant. The philosophy of money goes hand in hand with this. Rohn taught that money is simply a byproduct of who you become. If you build skills, discipline, and character, wealth will chase you because the marketplace rewards value. If you avoid growth and cling to comfort, money will remain scarce no matter how hard you wish for it. This is why self-education is critical. Traditional schooling may end, but learning never should. Every new book read, every seminar attended, every mentor sought adds to your value and therefore your earning capacity. One of Rohn's favorite principles was to work harder on yourself than you do on your job. This doesn't mean neglecting work, but it does mean recognizing that self-development multiplies your results. A better you makes for better work. Better work makes for better rewards. A person who only works on tasks will always be limited, but a person who works on themselves continually raises their ceiling of potential. This philosophy also redefines wealth. Wealth isn't only financial, it's about freedom, choice, and the ability to live life fully. True wealth comes when your skills, reputation, and contributions are so strong that opportunities flow toward you. Money becomes the natural outcome, not the primary focus. In this way, the pursuit of excellence leads to prosperity, while the pursuit of money alone often leads to frustration. In the end, Rohn's philosophy of money and work is about alignment. When your philosophy is built on growth, service, and self-discipline, work becomes meaningful and money becomes abundant. When your philosophy is built on shortcuts, complaints, or resistance to growth, both work and money become sources of struggle. The choice is always yours, to chase money blindly or to become the kind of person who naturally attracts it. And as Rohn would say, the greatest reward of becoming a millionaire is not the money, it's the person you had to become to earn it. 4. Wealth from right thinking. True wealth never begins in the numbers on a bank statement. It begins in the mind. Jim Rohn emphasized again and again that the way a person thinks determines their outcomes far more than the circumstances they are born into. If a person carries poverty in their mind, then even if fortune were to fall into their lap, it'll vanish quickly. History and everyday life are filled with examples. Lottery winners who gain millions yet lose it all within years. Athletes who earn incredible salaries but retire broke. Or entrepreneurs who rise quickly but collapse because they never built the mental framework for sustaining prosperity. This shows us that external riches without internal discipline create nothing lasting. On the other hand, someone with the mindset of wealth can take a small paycheck, a modest opportunity, or even a setback, and use it as the foundation for building a thriving life. It is not luck, it is right thinking. Right thinking means being intentional about how you direct your mind every day. It means disciplining your thoughts to focus not on lack, but on possibility. It means resisting the urge to spend recklessly for short-term pleasure and instead choosing patience, savings, and wise investments. It means recognizing that education is the greatest investment of all, because the more you grow, the more you can create, and the more value you bring to others. Rohn would often remind people that income rarely exceeds personal development. If you want to earn more, you must first become more. This shift begins with the awareness that your mind is the soil where seeds of wealth are planted. Without cultivating it, no amount of external opportunity will bear fruit. Surroundings matter as well. Right thinking requires choosing carefully the company you keep. Jim Rohn famously said, "You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with." If you are constantly surrounded by negativity, jealousy, laziness, or short-sightedness, those traits will infiltrate your thinking. But if you place yourself among people who inspire, challenge, and stretch you, their energy elevates your own. In this way, right thinking is not just an internal discipline, but also a social practice. You are curating the influences that shape your financial philosophy. To guard your mind is to guard your wealth. Finally, right thinking is deeply tied to the future. Poor thinking lives only for the moment, seeking immediate pleasure without regard for consequences. Wealthy thinking stretches further. It plans, prepares, and plants seeds that may take years to mature. It values long-term vision over short-term gain. It sees a dollar not just as something to be spent, but as something to be multiplied. This is why the wealthy mindset is not about greed, but about stewardship, being responsible with what you have so that it can grow into something greater. Right thinking is not about making money the master of your life, but about mastering yourself so that money becomes the servant of your purpose. When your thoughts are right, your habits follow. When your habits are right, wealth becomes the natural outcome. 5. Living by a wealthy philosophy. Wealth, in its highest sense, is not just about money or possessions. It is about adopting a philosophy of living that transforms every area of life. Jim Rohn often said that success is something you attract by the person you become. In the same way, wealth is the byproduct of a philosophy that governs how you view the world, how you handle challenges, and how you engage with others. A wealthy philosophy begins with gratitude. If you cannot appreciate what you already have, no amount of gain will satisfy you. Gratitude transforms scarcity into abundance, not because it changes your bank account, but because it changes your perspective. The wealthy person sees opportunity where others see limitation, because their philosophy has trained them to focus on what is possible, not what is missing. Discipline is another pillar of a wealthy philosophy. Without discipline, resources leak away like water through open hands. Discipline in spending ensures that you do not sabotage your future for the sake of fleeting pleasures. Discipline in saving builds reserves that protect you when storms come. Discipline in investing allows you to turn today's small resources into tomorrow's financial security. But discipline is not just financial, it is holistic. It is the ability to master your impulses, direct your energy, and remain consistent in the pursuit of worthy goals. When you live with this kind of discipline, wealth grows not only in your finances, but in your character, your reputation, and your opportunities. A wealthy philosophy also includes generosity. Jim Rohn believed that wealth without contribution is hollow. The more you have, the more responsibility you carry to uplift others. Generosity is not only a moral duty, it is also a principle of abundance. Those who give freely often find that their lives expand in unexpected ways because generosity creates connection, trust, and goodwill. A wealthy philosophy understands that money is not an end in itself, but a tool to create impact, to serve others, and to leave the world better than you found it. In this sense, the wealthiest people are not just those who accumulate the most, but those who use their resources to make the greatest difference. Ultimately, to live by a wealthy philosophy is to live with purpose. Wealth detached from purpose leads to emptiness, but wealth aligned with purpose leads to fulfillment. Your philosophy shapes your legacy, the mark you leave on those who come after you. Will you be remembered as someone who consumed endlessly, or as someone who created, contributed, and uplifted others? The wealthy philosophy points toward the latter. It teaches that true abundance is measured not by what you take, but by what you give. Not by what you own, but by who you become. Jim Rohn's wisdom echoes here. Success and wealth are not pursued directly. They are attracted by the life you choose to live. When you live by a wealthy philosophy, your finances improve, but so do your relationships, your health, your happiness, and your impact on the world. That is the power of aligning your philosophy with abundance. It makes you rich in every way that truly matters.
So, what's guiding your life right now? Are your beliefs helping you build the future you want, or are they holding you back? Remember, wealth is not something you chase, it's something you attract by becoming the kind of person who deserves it. If Jim Rohn's insights have inspired you today, take a moment to reflect on your own philosophy and start reshaping it into one that creates abundance. And if you found this message valuable, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this with someone who needs a reminder that their best life is within reach. Your philosophy shapes your destiny. Make sure it's a wealthy one.